So we have to pay attention to the words. We have to pay attention to all the words, and we have to make sure that what we're reading, seeing, and hearing is actually what is being said, and we have to take some time with that. Take some time with it. We talked about that yesterday. Taking time to listen, to hear. And so back to this parable, and we were talking about the seed and the significance of this parable as it relates to the kingdom of God, not the gospel of salvation, because Jesus didn't come preaching the gospel of salvation. Hello, somebody? Jesus preached the kingdom. He did not preach the gospel of salvation. Although redemption is a part of what he came to talk about, but it's under this umbrella. It's under this governance, this universal dominion, this supreme authority over. So let's dig in. It's 747 is going to be tight, but it's going to be right today. Let's talk about that seed and the significance of it. I'm listening.
Well, you're saying the significance of it, and I'll just say that uh, the seed represents the insignificance of it in regards to it appears to be insignificant. It appears to be unassuming. It appears to be something that wouldn't um, uh,
You
grow.
wouldn't take note of.
Nobody would take note of.
Yeah.
So insignificant in value. Um, and
Even in appearance.
in appearance, yeah. So
Unassuming. You said seemingly unassuming, but I'm going to say it is
it's
unassuming.
unassuming, yeah,
Keep talking. I'm listening. You heading down the right road.
yeah. So the kingdom of God and all the things that define what the kingdom of God is appears to be, I would say, not useful in the thoughts of what's happening in this world when it's presented.
Mm.
Uh, I think that the Pharisees and the scribes um, wanted to make wanted to make what Jesus was saying insignificant, random, um, without value compared to what they were saying.
Mm.
So it was a contrast to how
You would have to insert that one. I would say you'd have to insert that yeah, to make that fit in there. And I'm just hold, and it's okay. I'm holding us right tight. I'm holding us right tight to this parable. What is he trying to convey? Now, you were on the road. Now you talked about it being unassuming, being small, insignificant, seemingly. Would barely pay attention to notice it.
yeah, yeah. And it was I would say in looking at in the logos, it was saying that the mustard seed in that time uh didn't they thought they considered it a weed. They
Hmm.
didn't consider it a significant plant. It was used to protect other plants, so it
True.
wasn't even
But 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 pause on that now. Don't run too fast across what you just said.
yeah.
It was used to do what?
It was used to as a covering. Once it grew to its maturity, it was used as a covering for other plants in the
Pause it right there. Pause it right there. You just preached the whole message. Don't fool with that now. Don't go too
uh-huh.
fast,
I'm a,
right?
yeah.
Slow. We're gonna slow walk it. So here's a seed that is all but disdained, not even treated as a legitimate plant, that is planted, and when it grows, so goes the parable. It's enormous. And what you just said to me, based on your research, which is what you have to do with the word if you're going to get what it's really saying, because Jesus gave you enough to start the conversation, as he does, and as any good preacher will do. It is up to the student now to go hunting. And so you searched it out. Again, slow walk it, everybody. I'm talking to everybody, slow walk it. So if this plant was known to used for the purpose of covering others, what does that say about the kingdom and those who are a part of
Yes.
it? Let's go.
Uh, I like that a little bit when I'm examining what we have to look at on a daily basis. I like to be able to approach who, what, when, where, why in my study. And I like to be able to answer one of those, if not all of those. And with the parable we're talking about, he took time to mention the mustard seed. And I was thinking about that. Um, we have some mustard seeds. Um, they're very small. They get stuck under your finger. If you're not careful, you'll lose them. They're very small. And I believe that the seed in his parable, a seed in itself represents the concentrated form of life. And whether it's the seed of a sperm or the seed of a mustard seed, it represents life in its most concentrated, contained form. And then this particular plant, as Darren said, was kind of overlooked because it would grow along the hedgerow and the roadside and cover. And like you said, we may call it invasive because it would grow where you didn't plant
Invasive.
it,
Mm. Shut
where
up. It
you,
will grow.
where, yeah,
Pause it, Reverend Doctor, please. It will grow where you didn't plant it.
invasive.
I'm gonna pause you a little more now, because I want us to come back to this. We are hearing from Jesus a very simple or seemingly simple parable about the nature of his kingdom. Well, so it may show up someplace
Mhm.
that it wasn't planted. So he might show up at the club. He may show up, if I could use the language, excuse me. He may show up at the whole house
He may.
because a seed that small, the wind can blow it real easily. That's why some stuff ain't our business. You don't control the seed. Keep talking, Reverend Doctor.
Show up where it's not planted and it's invasive, meaning once it gets a hold, it grows well and it grows prominent. And the particular variety of mustard that they were talking about was a plant that would grow up to sometimes a height of 15 feet.
Yeah.
And if you know about a plant like that, birds and animals, they like plants and trees that aren't too big, aren't too small, but that can give them cover, that they can insert their nest and their burrows in. And then the leaves of the plant, if they're dense, they're protection from predators. So this mustard seed became a plant that grew where it wasn't planted. It was invasive, and sometimes it was places you didn't want it, but the various life forms liked it.
Yeah.
Birds, squirrels. You got all different kind of birds that end up living in this one plant, drawing life and protection from this one plant. So when he was talking about it, they knew exactly what he was talking about. The
So
kingdom, what the kingdom is like.
what's the
Yesterday we
kingdom is
talked.
like?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yesterday we talked about what it is not. Now today
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about what it's like.
What it's like. So this parable gives you corrective lenses, gives you perspective and understanding. So what is Jesus saying to us through this? Quit looking for something that's, what's the word? Bright and shiny. Can't find the word, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Grandiose.
All that. Don't assume because of its size that it ain't doing nothing. It's disregarded. He was disregarded. He was disregarded because he didn't come in flashing. So some would say that because the world is in the condition that it's in today, that we're losing the battle. That the devil is winning and God is losing. What Jesus is trying to say to them is this: there is this kingdom that, upon observation, seems like it ain't working, seems insignificant. People don't even pay attention to that little seed. You can't control it. It's tiny. What someone say is perceived to be a weed. All that. If you're not careful, you'll have the wrong perspective about who you are and this program that you are a part of, and you too will disdain it and minimize it. But if you understand what he's saying, it's going to take some faith to believe that this little bitty seed going to do what it do. Now, some folk have already seen this process, this thing occur in other areas of life, but we just never applied it to the kingdom. So here we go, and we're able to see it through this parable. Like, oh, wait a minute. It's just a matter of time. We judge stuff too soon. We don't let it play out. And of course, in many cases, you're not going to live long enough to see the seed become this big tree. You may only see the seed go in the ground, if that. It may be 5,000 years from now before it becomes what he said it is becoming. So we're talking about progression and evolution of a kingdom. Don't be looking for the right now. Seeds don't come up overnight. Staying at the ground after you plant the seed is exercise of futility. You need to go and do something else while that seed is doing what it do. I was in Mexico a month or so ago, and I came up on some, doggone it, the one tree that grow in Asia. That thing is in the ground, bamboo. That tree is in the ground for like 15 years before it comes to the surface. Underneath. The kingdom is doing its thing, but it requires faith to believe that it is. And then that's when you attach yourself to that truth. You attach yourself to that by faith. So you have to keep doing. It's not your business to grow that seed. You just have to keep doing, submitting and being obedient and doing the work like we're doing here, so you can understand more thoroughly what's going on, what's happening, the strategy of the king, his kingdom. He's giving you a picture of the nature of his kingdom. He's telling you this is how the kingdom comes. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, is a progressive experience that we're having over many, 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 many years and many, many, many generations. We keep wanting to put God's plan in a single generation, and that's the frustration, and that's when we get in trouble, and that's when we start doing dumb stuff. I just said it the way I said it. Ain't no other way to say it. So you hear throughout the book when he talks about generational occurrences and strategies. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all y'all now, and it continues. And if you look in the genealogies of Jesus Christ, he steps back and walks you forward so that you can understand. The kingdom is progressive. It is coming now. The Hebrew writer says what? We are receiving a kingdom that is unshakable. We're receiving it. We are to possess it. And he said the only way you can possess it is as children. Quit knowing everything. Get into that space of trust and innocence, hearing and learning. Man, it's amazing how babies grow, how fast they pick up on language and things. You got to be right there. See what we're doing here, you got to be right there in that baby sense in order to really grasp the kingdom. You come in here thinking you know everything about it, and I'm not talking about coming in here into this space. I'm talking about just as a believer, particularly a church believer. Think I got it. You don't have it. We getting it. We're receiving it. It's progression. So the kingdom is progressive. Now there's another parallel that follows. We'll hit tomorrow. This one is talking about the mustard seed and what happens in the public outside. And so here's a clue for tomorrow, because now he talks about what's going on the inside. You got the nature of the kingdom externally. You got the nature of the kingdom internally. Can you imagine if we just took the time and just worked the whole Bible like this, what would happen? You become a factor, high caliber human being, having the capacity in a very progressive fashion, having the capacity in a progressive fashion to make something or someone better. So you need patience, wisdom, guidance, faith. Faith creates faithfulness, because faith will say, when I can't see what's going on in the ground with this seed, I believe the one who said it, who sowed it. So I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to ride it out. The progressive nature of the kingdom. That's our lesson for the day. And we're at 8:02. Y'all have a good one. You got something to munch on. We're recording these. We'll upload them and get you some links. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Have a blessed day.